My daughter vanished. The first time I noticed something wrong, it wasn't the silence, it was the suitcases. Two of them, black, sitting at the edge of the bed like shadows she hadn't bothered to hide. My ex-wife's hands trembled as she folded clothes in the dark, not daring to switch on the light. She thought I was asleep. She froze when she saw me at the door. Her eyes were empty, but her voice sharp enough to cut. "She died because of you," she whispered. No tears, no hesitation, just venom. Then she zipped the suitcase shut as if sealing a coffin. My chest tightened, but I said nothing. Words would have been too small. Instead, I watched her carry her betrayal out of the house, her silhouette swallowed by the night. Still, I posted flyers, hundreds. My daughter's smile plastered across telephone poles, walls, bus stops. Missing, age 8, brown eyes, last seen at home. Neighbors pitied me. Police shrugged at my desperation. She never called them, not once. One afternoon, weeks later, in the gutted skeleton of an abandoned warehouse, I heard it, a giggle, high-pitched, familiar. My blood froze. "Daddy." The voice slid through the rusted beams, soft as breath, cruel as memory. And there she was, my daughter, my dead daughter, standing in the shadows, smiling. That's when it happened. Everything I thought I knew cracked open like glass. It began with suspicion I buried too deep to admit. A mother who never called the police. A woman who carried suitcases instead of grief. The night our daughter disappeared, she didn't scream, she didn't break, she didn't even look me in the eyes. She simply said the words, as if rehearsed. "She died because of you." Why me? Why not fate or chance or the world? Because she knew something I didn't. Her phone buzzed constantly, unanswered calls, messages deleted before I could glimpse a name. She spent long nights in her car, claiming she needed air. And when I asked about the child's favorite blanket, she lied, said she threw it away. But I found it weeks later, buried under her clothes, faintly smelling of smoke. Betrayal is never loud at first. It creeps, quiet and poisonous, until suspicion becomes certainty. I told myself she was grieving differently, that pain made people strange. But then I began to see it. The absence wasn't just of our daughter, it was of truth. And truth leaves fingerprints. I started digging, not loudly, quietly, surgically. Phone records, numbers she dialed at odd hours. I memorized them, traced them, matched them to names that shouldn't have mattered, but did. One belonged to a man she once claimed was just a friend. He lived near the industrial district. Receipts, too. Gas stations at midnight. Hotels paid in cash. A pattern emerged like veins beneath pale skin. DNA was harder. I cut a lock of my daughter's hair from an old doll she once loved. Took it to a lab, anonymous. Weeks later, the results came back with a question mark I couldn't erase. Something wasn't aligning. My ex-wife pretended it normalcy, cooking meals she never ate, smiling with lips that couldn't hide their cracks. I mirrored her silence, sat across from her, drinking tea, asking nothing. She thought she still held the cards, but inside me, the storm gathered. Every breath I took was strategy. Every word I didn't say was a weapon sharpening in the dark. The warehouse wasn't coincidence. I followed the trail of receipts, the whispers of neighbors who saw her car parked there at night. And then, my daughter's laugh. The sound pierced through me like a knife wrapped in silk. I wasn't crazy. She wasn't dead. Not yet. When the truth arrived, it didn't scream. It whispered. The man in the industrial district, he was more than a friend. He was the father, not mine. The DNA proved it. My daughter was never mine. Every memory, every bedtime story, every scraped knee I kissed, it belonged to another man's blood. I confronted her without words. I laid the envelope on the table, face down. She reached for it, slow, cautious. When she saw the papers, her face cracked. The mask shattered. "You weren't supposed to know," she said. Her voice was raw, desperate. I stayed silent. Silence was heavier than rage. She begged then, for forgiveness, for understanding, for the illusion of family. She cried, she broke, but I remained still. The truth had already hollowed me. The warehouse became the stage. I told her I knew. Told her I followed the trail. She tried to explain. Love, mistakes, confusion. Words like broken glass scattered at my feet. I let her speak, let her bleed her lies dry. Then I opened the door. Behind it, he stood, the man she'd chosen, the man whose blood ran in my daughter's veins. I had invited him, armed him with the truth she never intended to share. Their eyes met, horror colliding with recognition. "You told him?" she gasped. "No," I said, my voice calm as ice. "I showed him." The man's face twisted. Betrayal cut him too, though differently. He never knew she planned to vanish, to erase him just as she erased me. Her world collapsed, not by my hand, by her own, and I walked out, leaving her drowning in the wreckage. I don't dream of her anymore, not of the woman, not of the child. Dreams require hope, and I buried that with the flyers still clinging to rusted poles. The truth gave me no comfort, only clarity. My daughter wasn't mine, and my wife was never really my wife. Everything I lost was never mine to keep. But loss sharpens. It teaches. It frees. Now when I walk past the empty warehouse, I hear nothing. Not laughter, not ghosts, only silence. And silence, at last, is mine. She thought she'd taken everything from me, but you cannot steal what was never yours.